Hey guys, welcome back to the Foolish Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Just watched Michigan predictably lose to USC 31 to 13. Another terrible performance on the road in a primetime game. Oh, if this sounds familiar, but should Michigan continues to struggle under Sharon Moore in these big games with statement games? Even Sharon Moore was talking about this game as the team tried to play this up as a playoff preview. And there you see it where Michigan just didn't really seem like they were even in this game. I know they did tie it up 7-7, 4-ish minutes before halftime, but USC just came right back down the field and just scored a touchdown. I mean, USC was able to do whatever they wanted, and the plague, the curse that has been Michigan's bugaboo for the past year and a half under Wink Martindale. And even if you go back to Don Brown, it would be that, I know there was a gap there where we had good DCs, but you have these ultra-aggressive coaches who think, I gotta, pressure, or they just are being picked apart on third and longs and just giving up big chunk plays, crushing plays. They're giving up with ease because you're being aggressive on third down. To go along with that, to be fair, the offense did nothing to help them, really. You had, a 3-and-out to start the game. Didn't help. USC came right back down, but defense forced a fumble, recovered. Does Michigan do anything with it? No. You're not going to win games, big games, on the road if you do not win in the facets. You got to win at least 2 of the 3 facets of the game. Offense, no chance. Lincoln Riley's known for his super offense. You had to try to limit them. And honestly, holding that team to 31 points probably should be, quote-unquote, you can consider a victory. During the broadcast, they would talk about if Michigan could hold the game in the 20s, they like their chance to win. If it got in the 30s, it'd be more USC's chance, better chance to win. Well, they scored 31 points. Michigan doesn't even get 20. So USC held to only 31, and they had that late touchdown when they were still up by 11. So, it was a little bit tighter than it really appeared, but still, they had 489 yards of offense. 489 yards. Michigan's defense came in averaging, giving up, I think, about 80 yards rushing. Their third-string running back had at least, I don't have the full stats in front of me, but at least was like 150 to 175 yards. Michigan's defense was just being gashed all over the place. The fact was the defense did make some plays. Couple red zone. I'm not sure the fumble was a red zone. I think it was actually a fumble in the red zone, and then the interception in the red zone cost USC some points. In other words, this game could have been easily in the 40-point range for USC. Michigan's offense really was limited by a couple factors. One, USC's not threatened. They were not threatened. Michigan did not threaten them at all with any deep balls, besides the bust where Marsh hit the 69-yard touchdown play. Outside of that, Michigan, I think, only had a pass for 16 yards was the next longest play. Michigan just is not able to take advantage of teams shifting up or crowding the box to stop the run. And they got to do that. Now, Bryce Underwood has the talent. He just has to take advantage of it. To go along with that, the offensive line was played poor too, and there was extra pressure on him as well. He got sacked a few times, which is different as well. Now, one thing I just want to say, USC had a bye week, and it seemed that they really took advantage of that. They were one of the top 10 teams in getting called for penalties. They only got called for 2. Their tackling issues went away, whereas Michigan's tackling issues continue to be a problem. I know USC is fast, but when you miss a tackle and they run for another 20 yards on third and 20, that does not help. So you need to win 3 facets of the game. Obviously, did not win offense. Defense, no. USC has put out there the strategy to destroy Michigan on defense. As an offense. Just do quick plays. Quick screen passes. The defense doesn't have a chance to get home because you get rid of the ball so quickly. Now, how many teams will have the talent to do that? I don't know, but there's the blueprint for just doing whatever you want to Michigan. Just little dump-offs take advantage of their aggressiveness. We'll see what other teams can do. I was talking to my buddy about this was kind of like a little Ohio State prep. Ohio State and USC, I would say, have both very strong offenses. I would say Ohio State has a much better defense. Well, if this is a preview, it's not going to be good in Ann Arbor this year. But, of course, I would have said the same thing last year, when Michigan was on a really bad, they lost like 4 or 5 games after, including, if you remember last year, Michigan was ranked like number 10 or something, and they went out to Washington and lost a game because they had no quarterback play. So there's going to be some growing pains along the way. Sorry, excuse me. But it's nice to know that Michigan does have a quarterback. He just has to develop. This is a freshman quarterback who played on the road again in a hostile environment at night. Oklahoma was a tough learning environment. Today was a tough learning environment. Hopefully this will pay dividends. We got to keep him around each year, that he doesn't go off and, go in the portal and get his payday somewhere else, which is just the way college football is. I would be remiss if I didn't once again question Sharon Moore and his coaching thoughts, his decision making, his coaching staff. For one, I think Wink Martindale needs to go. I know he's got like 1 more year on his contract, but I think you just cut bait on him. I do not think he's a good college coach. Besides that, special teams coach, poor punt again, set up their 3rd touchdown, like just a terrible punt. It was only 52 yards their next drive, so again, special teams plays a bad factor. And this infuriated me. USC just scored to start to almost in the second half, and Michigan got the ball, and we fielded the ball inside the 5. And we just fair caught it on the ensuing kickoff. Why did you not return that kick? What's the worst that's going to happen? The worst thing that's happened is you fumble the ball and then return it for a touchdown. Okay, very unlikely. Why, if you're going to just fair catch it and not try, why do we even run a play? Why don't we just take a knee? We ran a Marshall run for like a yard or 2. Why did you waste that? I don't understand it. Getting back, it hurt losing Haynes, only 51 yards. He kind of got banged up on the second drive, I think it was. He did not come back, so we'll see how that plays out. Running back is a brutal position. Well, you look at USC, their 3rd string running back ran for like 150, 175 yards. No, Michigan's not able to do that because we're not a spread enough team. We're a power team, and when speed versus power happens and you don't have a good offensive line, you get destroyed. And that's what happened here. You're not able to sustain drives well enough at all. So I disagree with them, the special teams coach again, why we didn't return the kick. I also don't understand the 2-point conversion. I just don't understand it. You would have made it a 9-point game. I know the play was there and Underwood throws a bad ball. Fine. So it would have been down from 11. It should have been a 10-point game. Instead, it's 11. You went for 9. If it's 9, what are you really banking on? That you get a touchdown and then you have a field goal to win the game? I guess. But why are you going for that 2 points now? Because now you're just, as they said, you're just chasing points. I didn't get it. I don't like it where you go chasing points. You know what it made me remember? Was the game in Happy Valley 2 or 3 years ago when James Franklin, he went off and went for 2 early, like in the second quarter or something, and they didn't get it. And they were chasing that point like the rest of the game, and Michigan won like by an 11-point score or something like that. It was just dumb. And so like when I think of James Franklin is doing this, it makes me think, why would anyone want to replicate what James Franklin does as a coach? Because he's known for being stupid. So, Sharon Moore, don't do stupid things like go for 2 when it doesn't really help you anything. Like I said, kind of a predictable, 31-13 loss. Michigan does not win these games on the road under Sharon Moore. You do not win night games on the road under Sharon Moore. How he was able to go into Ohio State last year and beat the Buckeyes is just unfathomable to me as our head coach, because I just don't see him as a big time coach. Maybe I'll be proved wrong. I know this is year 2. We had year 1 of hangover, where Michigan was kind of behind the 8 ball because Jim Harbaugh left for the NFL so late. You had to get different, recruiters and different coaches, all that stuff. Not impressed. Continuing to have coaching mistakes. I don't know. At least he got rid of our OC last year. Chip Lindsey seems to have some good play calling. I don't know how much he's hampered by Sharon Moore and his being a turtle at times versus aggressive. How much he's hampered, Chip Lindsey that is, by having a freshman quarterback, by having a bad offensive line. I'll say Michigan has a bad offensive line, which is kind of worrying, where Sharon Moore was our O-line coach. And I think Grant Newsome is our coach, and he is a helper. And it still seems our offensive line is not good. They're just getting beat repeatedly and easily. So this was a chance for Michigan, as Moore said, to prepare for like a playoff game. And that was a dud. That was a stinker. That was sad. But kind of to be expected. This is the MO for Michigan. They do not go to the West Coast and play well. They don't. They even tried to do that, get there a day early and settle in. Didn't help, and now they're just laying egg, just a blah game, just like exactly what you expect to happen, which is disappointing that you don't get over that hump. That's where I'm just in the back of my mind. I know I'm rambling, but when Michigan went to Nebraska, a night game, like 2021 or so like that, I know that's a year where they finally overcame and they beat Ohio State that year. When they went there and won that game, that kind of told me things were turning under Jim Harbaugh. I mean, it's coming off the 2020 COVID year where they went 2-4 or something. It was terrible. When they went to Nebraska and won a big game on the road at night, that told me something. I've not seen that from Sharon Moore yet. We'll see what happens if Michigan has any more night games this year. But for right now, it's 4-2 on the year. You've lost the games you could have lost. You maybe throw Nebraska in there that you could have lost that one and you won. So maybe you're 1-2 in those 3 games you could have lost. But 2 of them were on the road. 2 of the 3 on the road. I understand. All 3 were on the road. Sorry. But it's too bad. You would have liked to get this win to just kind of propel yourself. But it is what it is. An expected loss. A blob game. And we move forward. I don't know what else to say about this game. If you stayed to the end, thanks so much. If you have any thoughts or comments, put them in the box below. I'll try to respond as I'm able to. I know Michigan did not win the factors of the game, but those refs were just terrible and wasted time and were reviewing plays that had no business to be reviewed and calling offensive penalties on Michigan where it wasn't and not calling them on USC when it was. I'm not going to say the refs cost Michigan the game. No, they messed up too much themselves. Too many missed tackles. Too much bad play. But, man, some of those plays, you just see where they call the offensive pass interference on Michigan. Instead of like 3rd and 2, it's now 3rd and, 12, and then they don't get, then they punt and they get the short punt at the 52. They're setting up USC's 3rd touchdown. Just because of the bad blown call by the refs. And then the ones they call, the ones they don't call. Hey, one positive. I know I'm Troy going. Sorry. Michigan finally drew a holding call. Game 6. It took 6 games to finally draw one holding call this year. You gotta love the Big Ten refs. They're great. Hey, as always, thanks for watching. Until I see you guys next time, go Blue.